Hello everyone. Let's start with unit number 6, memory management of computer architecture and operating system. Our agenda is memory partitioning, swapping, paging, segmentation, virtual memory concepts, overlays, demand paging, performance of demand paging, page replacement algorithms, allocation algorithms. Now, as you know, memory is one of the prime resource of a computer system, and its efficient utilization increases in the performance of a system. Swapping is mechanism which deals with exchange of bulk of information between memories. Contiguous memory allocation deals with allocation of sufficient size of memory block to the process. Paging is one of the memory management technique which allows the user to partition the memory into fixed size blocks. Page tables are the memory resident tables which are used in the paging mechanism. Segmentation is another memory management scheme which allows the user to divide the memory into different blocks, and that blocks can be of different size. At the end of our discussion, we will discuss about address translation mechanism of Intel Pentium processor. Now let's see the objectives of this unit. One of the objective is to provide the detailed description of variety of ways of organizing memory hardware, and the another one is to discuss various memory management techniques including paging and segmentation. Now if you have a look at this diagram, there is a pyramid structure, and at the top of the pyramid there is a microprocessor, and below that there is cache memory, and just below that there is a main memory, and at the bottom there is virtual memory. Now when we go from bottom to top, the speed of the memory increases, and as we move on from top to bottom, the size of the memory increases. Static RAM and dynamic RAM, they have the speed of around 1 to 50 nanoseconds, and disks, that is SSD and HDD, they have the speed of around 10 raised to 5 to 10 raised to 7 nanoseconds. There's another way of showing the memory hierarchy in a computer system. As shown in this diagram, cache memory is interfaced or placed between main memory and CPU. So the CPU can have an access of information which is required if present in the cache memory. Otherwise, the information will be accessed by the CPU from main memory, which is brought into the cache memory, and then it can be accessed by the CPU. Auxiliary memory devices such as magnetic tapes and magnetic disks, they are interfaced to the CPU via I/O processor. Now let's see some background. Program or code must be brought from disks, that is secondary storage devices, into memory and be placed within a process for it so as to run. Main memory and registers, they are only storage CPU can access directly, whereas the auxiliary memory devices, they are indirectly addressed. Memory unit only observes a stream of addresses and read control signals or read request or address plus data and write requests. Registers are accessed faster, that is they can be accessed in a CPU clock or less. Main memory can take more number of clock cycles. Cache, which is a small size memory but of higher speed, is placed between main memory and CPU registers. Protection of memory required to ensure correct operation. So there are some protection mechanisms which are used to have an access to the memory. Now if you have a look at this diagram, there is a memory which starts at an address 0 and whose end address is shown to be 1024000, and there are pair of registers named base register and limit register as shown on the right hand side. The base register has the value 300040 and limit register has the value 120900. Now, so as to compute the address of memory, the value of limit register indicates the size of the memory and base register indicates the place where that memory block or a process begins. So here the base register value 300040 implies that the process starts at the address 300040, and when we add 120900, that is limit, to the base, we get the end address of that block, that is 420940. Now let's see the hardware access protection with base and limit registers. Now in this diagram, whatever the address that is generated by CPU, that address is compared or checked with the base address, and if the base address and address, while comparison, if the address is greater than base address, if so, then it is used for further address computation, else the system will trap to the monitor of the operating system and indicating error. So if the address is greater than base address or equal to base address, then it is checked whether base plus limit is less than CPU address. If so, then it will be used for accessing memory, or what we call it as a physical memory location. Now let's move on to the next point, that is address binding. It is inconvenient to have first user process to start physically at an address 0, because at an address 0 normally the resident monitor or the monitor program resides. Further, the address is represented in different ways at different stages of a program's life. For example, source code addresses, they are normally represented symbolically, whereas compile call addresses, they are bind to relocatable addresses. Linker or loader will bind relocatable addresses to absolute addresses. Each binding maps one address space onto the other address. Address binding of instructions and data to memory addresses, they can happen at 3 different stages. Number 1, compile time, that is, if the memory location knows priorly, then absolute code can be generated and we must recompile code if starting location changes. Another one is load time. In this case, it must generate relocatable code if memory location is not known at compile time. Whereas third one is execution time. Here, the binding is delayed until the runtime if the process can be moved during the execution from one memory segment to another. Now let's see here the multi-step process.